All right, we're gonna start off and we're gonna do this right. Hopefully, you guys understand what's going on. I have a very powerful sort of set of topics that I'm going to share with you guys, and I want you to think alongside with me. Um, this is usually my gaming channel, but I kind of want to do this here because this is kind of where I feel like I can be very clairvoyant and just say it how it is. Now, instead of taking time to address exactly what those things are, I don't really have a plan, action, in how I'm going to do this. But I want you guys to know that I'm going to try my best to do what's best and just navigate around and show you what's really good. I have some very powerful topics, and this one is basically about TikTok and a lot of information in the path that we're on right now. So, without further, I'm just gonna let you guys see me. I have really nothing to hide, and I just want to say it how it is. And I think it's gonna be very interesting. So, let's enjoy and talk this through. What's up? I go by image, Zaddyimage, you know, anything just image. Now, a lot of people work on their image, and TikTok is one of those places. I'm gonna set up on my browser, what I'm looking at, so that we have an idea of what's going on, right? So, give me a second while I set that up. I've started a whole new. Give me 1 second. Alright. I'm just selecting the scene. It's taking me a little bit, but just bear with me. Alright. I think I'm gonna just go over here. And just do this real quick. Oh, I still haven't created. I thought I did. One more. Don't worry, I got a lot of time. Alright, there it is. Yeah, that's my name. It's Miguel. Well, here's the thing. The topic is why TikTok is over. And there's a lot of reasons why I don't want it to be over. But there's a lot of reasons why a lot of things that are present want it to be over. And here's my guess, right? Usually, we have these things, right, that are just against of whatever it is that we're doing. And one of those things is pretty much getting together. And that's kind of what they don't want to happen. You know, they're trying their best to just really push I don't know why I can't see my video. Give me 1 second. There you go. All right. Let me try this conversation now that I got that out of the way. Every day we are influencers. We're getting influenced. And, you know, everything has spelling on it, you know, words. And it lives, you know, once you already know exactly the letters and what the words and how to pronounce it. Right? So reading is a part of everyday life. And there's always these very interesting things like you got to look at, especially at, you know, how things are advertised these days, right? So one of those main priorities about TikTok is, you know, let's make the time count. You know, like how are you going to be able to entertain people with a short amount of time? You know, because it's like, you know, watching a commercial, but you have control. And that's pretty much how I can explain TikTok. You know, you listen to a sound and you listen to the whole entertainment of it, but sometimes it's just raw and sometimes it's just very straightforward. You know, back then we used to write these things on our social media platform to just kind of describe what it is that we want people to know. And we were limited to how many characters we were able to use. And you know, it's interesting how limitations help us to sort of jump the scale of things, you know, of what you can do with those limitations, you know. So I'm gonna use it in reference of music. So it's very interesting how you train your ear, you know, when you get into music production. And it's very good for you to understand that, you know, how to move with the times. Like, why are they, you know, people listen to certain music and hear what they have to say about it. And now everybody has a phone and a camera, and you know, this camera is actually a phone camera. And I'm always thinking about how it was very easy to just sort of put anything out there, and information is going fast. And just like information, there's a lot of things going on in this world. And it's best for a lot of, you know, for protecting, you know, if it's not in our territory, then why, or like basically what they're trying to do is, if it's not in our area, it should not affect us. But here's the most interesting thing about all this. There's a bill that they're trying to pass, and basically it's like, tax exemption. Like you don't have to pay any tax and you get the full amount, and you only pay the taxes for, whatever it is that you actually really use. And, you know, that would be very beneficial, but at the same time, it doesn't really help the rich get richer. And, you know, talking about these things freely is like what makes us, as a whole, very interesting, because many people should see, from their side of their way of looking at things. You're always supposed to just read what there is in front of you, but always have a mind to just dissect the things, you know. And apparently, it's like it has to be selected. But, think about all the history that we are now learning because of TikTok and because of how people are willing to inform each other. Like, I think the most interesting thing, right? Let's talk about somebody that we, know. Like Shia LaBeouf. And, many things happen with becoming famous. We should already know, and I'm gonna get to those kind of points, a little bit later as I break these series down. This is just kind of like starting from zero. I just saw something on YouTube and I kind of wanted to react to it, but at the same time, like I said, you got to take all the information and break it down to the way that you can for yourself. Even when you read something online, just remember that everything is susceptible for what people want to tell you, what they want to let you know. Like, we had a thing, right? Where in social media, nobody really sees how hard you work. And everything looks nice, wrapped up. It's well put together, and people do not expect any less of you. And when you try to be raw these days, then they really like that kind of stuff because they're actually, saying that it's relatable, and we're having these moments where, we get better, and then we're having these moments where we're learning. So, like, people get to see that. And some people will cheer you on, and some people won't, and like, I'm gonna get to a lot of that. But it comes out to that, Shia LaBeouf basically, with his movie Honey something, it's Shia LaBeouf basically looking back at his life and interpreting it the way that he remembers. And, Hollywood was like, wow, he redeemed himself, and he wrote this. Meanwhile, he was on trial for a lot of obscure things. But this goes to show, right? Like everything has some sort of wall and area that it has to go through. And I talk with my hands most of the time, like, who shouldn't? And at the same time, to each their own. But I realize we're given segments this whole time. I might be able to break this down even more and just kind of like do something with this. But I feel it's very interesting that a lot of the problem these days is why can't we communicate the way as human beings we communicate? It's like that's what boggles my mind the most. I live in such a very kind of area. I have some old people around me, literally. And then it's like I'm trying to find a way to think, well, do I need to treat my walls? Do I need to do anything just to please everybody around me, yet they don't suffer what I have to go through and suffer to have put together what I have put together. I don't know. I think this is something. If you can do something like this, I say just start with your phones and your real reactions to things. And we all get somewhere eventually. The whole intention is to be real. And I think that's where I'm coming from. It's like if we know the information is out there, from what point in time do we take it and look for the solution? Because it's like we already have the solution. We've been had the solution. And it seems like every time we have a solution, there has to be a way to sort of distract us. Like everything is better when it pauses. Like when you take your time and you really think. And yes, I'm going to bring God and Jesus into this and people who are Muslim. And, they have a lot of people who are Buddhists who, they have Buddha and all these, like you have your Krishnas, you have basically a lot of ideas of a supreme power or a belonging. Like if we were to just learn the most important lesson, and that is to walk in this path. And I bring path into this because it's like we're all subject and we're all sort of like this object. And I know, like, good morning, these words affect us. What is my main focus today? Question mark. And then it's like, what is your objective? What is you're trying to do? Atomic Habits kind of like breaks that down. Like, what are you achieving? Are you, what do you want to be? And how are you thinking about it to become that? And you can only do that by making changes that are persistent. And what I want to work on most of the time when I do these talks is to just sort of change the idea of what works, like just a solution, just what we really need in our lives. Like, I'm not here to introduce any ideas. I'm not here to, like, I guess, or not guess, what I really want to say is that I would love to show everybody how important it is for you to have something in your life that you love, and because you love it, it loves you back. Right? That's just the tit for tat, you know. That's how God wants to be known. I am who I am. You know, Yahweh. The whole idea is to show who you really are at the end of the day. So you can never think less of yourself. And let's get together and talk about these things in a better light. You know, I would love to see us actually be real. You know, I don't know who really listens to the radio or who really watches the TV. I kind of, you know, and it's hard to listen to a lot of people's ideas. Like I watch videos about learning, you know, how to use some of the equipment that I should just be able to read the manual. Like any decent human being, when they get something, they should read a manual. But I'm a visual person, and I'm very appreciative that, you know, people take that time and really explain things. I'll give an example of my life, you know, and see if you guys can relate. So I dived in, you know, I'm one of those people who, you know, like when I get inspired to do something, I like to do it, you know, and I I get very absorbed, and I need what I need in order to get that sort of like fulfillment that I did it. And I never really take it to full, like, I never really honor the idea of what that is, you know, and I'm my age is getting up there, but it feels like I'm appreciative of how it's been for me to be able to have learned, you know, and gone this far. I was an addict. I had problems with drugs, and I've been clean for more than 8 years. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I will dabble here and there, but nothing too serious. And then I really think about it. It's it's one of those things that sometimes, you know, it's a smart move to, you know, watch what you say, and then, you know, just kind of like go a whole other, you know, and not talk about these things. But I think why I want to talk about these things is like, you know, now we have a new addiction to TikTok because there's so much happening, and it seems like you're only being able to communicate what's relatable and not what's being shown to you. And they have a very interesting way of, you know, however they put it. I've gotten my fair of, you know, very interesting, you know, people that I can be communicative with, and I'm thankful for. And at the same time, you have to be careful because it's like you might not be enough, or so it feels from time to time. And there's a frame of word that captures that, and it's doom scrolling. And I think that's a very powerful thing. Now, I'm sorry, I just kind of went in rant, but like I said, this is starting from zero, and I'm really just kind of breaking it down for myself, and probably going to use this, from section to section. And maybe this wasn't the best way to do it because I'm in a very small little window. But then you probably have these rocks. But yeah, I work at night, and that third shift, it's very interesting. I get home, and instead of being like super tired when I am super tired, I just want to sit here and try to figure out how to escape, you know, the priority of, what the 9 to 5, is still a job. You're getting paid to do something, but it's not my calling. It's not what I really want to do. And I kind of need you guys' help. Maybe me lending my voice out there, you know, somebody see this, it might be important to them. So, yeah, let's talk to each other, help each other out. And thank you for watching. And I feel like I want to watch this for myself and just kind of like, yeah, see if this actually went through. Thank you.